27th, 2024, and I'm here to answer your weekly questions. Part 103, 103 weeks of Saturdays getting together and just chit-chatting. Yeah, it is a mild day today here. We won't get into the weather just yet, but I wanted to start with that so you can let you know what's going on. I've been organizing my office. Not that you can tell. Oh, look at the boxes and mess that's still around. But if you look at my desk, all these envelopes, there were a whole lot more of them there with stamps and things that have been coming in, and I've been putting them aside, trying to figure out what to do with them. And well, I mean, I wanted to have them in my collection, but I didn't know when I was going to get around to doing it. So I've been using this binder and going in and filling it with all the stamps. Hard to do it from that direction, but all the stamps that I've been collecting and things like that, I've been trying to put them in sets. I've been sorting them by countries and by collections. I showed a recent video where I had an envelope full of topical stamps. They were all birds, so they're in there all organized by the birds, not by the countries that they came from. But I have gotten stamps from, say, Kyler that were all from Japan, so I put those all in the album. And one day I will cross-reference some with my father's collection and see what stamps he is missing and just kind of feed them into it. But I've been trying to figure out how I want to do that. I don't really want to go by hinges. Some people have been showing me, I've got quite the glare from the from the light on top of my dome. Some people have been showing me, pages you can print out that show you the stamps, and then you can just put your stamp on a mount and put it over top of it. So that might be one way to go. Looks like it could be pricey. It might only be pricey more in paper and ink than it is in getting the pages, because I know you can get the pages for free online in some cases. But it would be a lot of work I'd have to basically focus on one country, print off all the pages, then cut the size mounts and things like that I need to go. But I do have some mounts because I found all these mounts around. Some of them Kyla gave me the other day when I was at the stamp fair, some of them that I already had, and some of them I found in boxes that my father had too. So I can use those mounts to put the stamps up. So those would work. But it's just a matter, I think, of doing one thing at a time. First, I've got to tackle all these envelopes and figure out what countries are in there. And then I have to sort them by numerical value, I suppose. And then from there, go into, I'm trying to find the best place to get not such a glare. Get a lot of glare off a nice, bright, sunny day outside. And then sort them by years they came out. And then figure out what albums over there that my father has and what stamps are missing. So that's kind of the task that I'm doing. And you can see I've got overflows of paperwork that's around. I just want the clutter to be gone. I have a whole bunch of stamps on pages that are on paper backing. They need to be soaked off. So that's a job that I still have to do. So I could do that. I might soak, but I may use some of the products that I've been showing last little while to take them off the paper. Who knows? I'm just trying to fill a task. This has been on my mind for a while, this office. I do a lot of videos in this office. I do all my mail when it comes in, my postcards, which I've got sorted in these cases now. So I want to have a working space that's not so cluttered. What about you guys? I know there's a couple people on now watching. What task have you had in your background that you haven't gotten accomplished yet that you really would like to? One thing that I should do, which I don't think I did last week, is review my questions. So every Saturday I answer your questions, but the first Saturday of each month I get you to answer a question for me. So for January, I said, tell me something interesting about yourself that I should know. And then what you do is you write it on a postcard and you send it in to me at my address, which is provided in the description of each one of these videos. So yeah, I've already gotten one of the answers back, so hopefully I get some more. Hello to Stephen in Australia and Ida Marie in the United States. Hello to both of you. Stephen says weeding the garden is something that has been on his bucket list to do, but hasn't done yet. That's always something. As soon as spring arrives, you see all the stuff that's in the garden, and the last number of years I haven't even planted a garden, so I've been trying to keep the flower beds a little bit clean, but haven't put anything new in them. And for the most part, some of these flower beds really should be yanked up. Some of the wood around them is rotting. So I feel you there, Stephen, that it is a big job to keep and maintain them. Glad to see some more people are popping on again now. I'm hoping that this time frame is a good one. Last week I did it at 1 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, so even an hour later than I'm doing it this week. And we had a pretty good mixture of people coming on and talking, so hopefully we get the same thing again this week. Want to hear what your questions are for me this week, but I do also want to get some responses from you. Amber's on. Hello, hello. So send me some cards with an interesting fact about yourself. The one that I did get was a really good fact. I didn't know anything about that. So, oh, Eric from Ontario. Hello, Sir Robert, my king. Good day, good day, good day. Nice to see some people on. Ida Marie's got some concerts and travel on her bucket list. Stephen wants to know what sort of flowers I grow in my garden. Most of my flowers that are in my garden are all perennials. So I do have tulips and things that come up, and I've got a mixture of other ground cover flowers that are in there. But I want to plant things that I don't have to keep replanting every year, one, and that's hardy enough to survive mostly on its own. Oh, Media's on from Finland. Says hello to you all from snowy Helsinki. -4 here. Okay, we're into the weather. All right, in Moncton right now, it is -2. There is a little bit of snow on the ground outside. We got 2 to 4 centimeters last night. I don't know exactly how much. Amber's doing some grocery shopping, so she's jumping in and out. Eric says it's 2 degrees in Ontario, where he is. I will show you outside here real quick. Let's flip this around. All right. There you can see we got the white stuff. Not a terrible lot. As you can see the driveway. And you can see there's not a lot on the sides. The roads are relatively clean. The mailbox needs to be shoveled out a little bit. There's a basketball net that needs to come down. It's in awful shape. Stephen says it's 18 degrees there. Oh, Jane is on. Welcome, Jane, from South Carolina. So you can see we do have a little bit of snow on the ground. It looks nice. It doesn't really get in the way. It's not stopping me from driving and delivering and doing all that sort of stuff. Just enough to make it look like winter. 50 degrees Fahrenheit now, and rain coming in for Ida Marie. You can see they're all my beautiful flowers if you want to see them. They're underneath the ground there, of course. Give you a tour down the side. There. A touch of East Coast winter happening right now. And little bird's nest. Nobody home, of course, this time of year. All right, flip it back around. Go back inside the house. Ida says a little here in DC, that's considered a lot of snow. Well, that's the difference between our climates, I guess. Talking to Media earlier, she said she had up to 50 centimeters of snow. Half of that is melted. She's still left with 25. That's more of the amount of snow we're used to getting in the past here. Last number of years, though, not been the case. We've had cold weather, but not a lot of snow of recent. So Global warming, I guess. Jane says that much snow in South Carolina would be a blizzard. Well, if you got that much snow, it would be gone the next day, wouldn't it? You know what I did? In the office, forgot to put my indoor shoes on here. We'll back up. Here we go. Do my kids know that I'm a king? No, my kids do not consider me a king, nor do I. So I'm just glad that Eric, you have taken on the mantle. So thank you. It's a real pleasure. Steven says they had rain a couple days ago. On Tuesday, it was 40 degrees Celsius. So that wasn't fun. And then it dropped to 30, and today it's got up to 23. 23 is pretty manageable. 30 starting to get a bit warm, and 40 would be don't leave the house. And Jane, I'm sure that you get warm temperatures like that in South Carolina as well. Did you know, Jane, that my daughter's roommate is also from South Carolina, from Charlotte? Eric's been digging back in the history of that dad guy and looking at my earlier videos, actually my earliest videos that I first started the channel with. I did a whole bunch of 22 push-up challenge, and I didn't just want to do the push-ups, so I did little sketch comedies for each one of them. Welcome, Marcin from Poland. No, I don't think you need to update my beard for the intro, unless we wanted to have a winter intro and a summer intro. This is just my winter beard. Every year, around December, I start to grow it, and then I'll shave it off when it starts getting warmer again. But it is looking a little bushy. I might need a trim soon. We'll see. Eric says he likes the video that I'm in a room with a bunch of stuffed animals. Yeah, that's what my daughter's room looked like at one point in time, but way back when she was a younger girl and she had tons and tons of stuffed animals around. It's not like that anymore. But I do have bags and bags of stuffed animals in the basement. I could recreate it. What did I miss back there? I don't think I missed anything. You guys were just talking to each other. That was good. So we have Finland on, we have Australia on, we have Poland on, we have the United States on, we have Canada on. We've got a good start happening here so far. We are a global community, that's for sure. Eric says, I remember in a video you said you went to school for political science. Is that correct? Yes, I was a history and political science major in university. Steve wants to know what my very first or most recent stamp purchase was. I showed you a video of my $100 budget at at the Moncton Stamp Fair. Those were my most recent purchases. There's something that came out of nowhere. That's an interesting fact from Jane that her Marzi cat ID that she goes with on Instagram or on YouTube is about her neighbor's cat that lives with them. I'm going to put this tripod down and so it won't be as shaky, hopefully. No reason I need to be holding it all the time. Do I know a lot about Canadian history? I think I know quite a bit about Canadian history. I know a lot about British history too. I've probably forgotten most of my things that I've went to school for. But history always has fascinated me, so that was kind of the reason I went into it. I had two really good teachers in elementary school and high school that really got me on the passion for history. In elementary school, I had a teacher called Remy Levesque, and he was fantastic. I had him grade 7 through grade 9 for a history teacher. And then when I got to high school, I had a gentleman called Mr. Landry, and he brought history alive. So I give full props to both those gentlemen for sparking my interest in history. No, Stephen, I haven't bought anything since then. I don't tend to buy a lot of stamps. I mean, I buy stamps that I'm going to put on postcards and send out, like, Donald Sutherland stamps or the Christmas stamps or whatever. But they're not collection stamps that are going in there. Lately, mostly anything from my collection has been coming through trades that people have been sending me, which I was showing you the book that I've been putting together. So, kind of been organizing that. Eric says history for him is what him got more into stamps. They go hand in hand. I mean, look at these. These are outfits in Spain from all the different regions. Great for history. What else do we have in here that would be? Stamps from Sweden. Getting to know what these stamps represent, what the history behind them is. It's really fun. It's fun to me anyways to get that. And sometimes people send me stamps, but also send me the history behind the stamps, which I really appreciate, because then I know a little bit more about what's going on. I've got the rarest stamp in Canada, the Royal Canadian Dad Guy original stamp. I think you have that stamp now too. There are a few people out there that probably have that stamp. The original one that I made, and then there is the most current one, and will be the last one because you can't make them anymore. So here's a sheet of those said stamps. These are the ones that I've been sending out, but here's a full sheet that's never been sent. So I send those sparingly because I know I can never make any more of them unless they bring the program back again. Does Canada have a version of the Underground Railroad? Not only do your Underground Railroad comes to Canada. So Amber, when you're talking about the Underground Railroad and the slaves escaping from the South, a lot of times they didn't stop when they got to northern United States. They kept coming until they got to Canada, so they could have their freedom completed. So yeah, if you're talking about the Underground Railroad, it comes all the way to Canada. I really loved history in school as well. Martin says Spanish ladies, it took me a while, but I have all of them. Oh, that's fantastic. Those, I was very fortunate enough. Louis, my friend who lives in Spain now, sent those to me. So that's where I got mine. Well, there you go. Eric can tell you all about the Underground Railroad too, because it went into Ontario. It came up through Maine too, and a lot of them escaped into New Brunswick and Nova Scotia as well. Stephen got the newest Australian stamps that came out. Nostalgic tint fruit labels. Okay, those will be interesting. I know Canada's next stamp is to come out on the 29th, and it is a celebration of Black History Month for February. So we have a leader of Black History rights in Canada. That's who's being represented. So hopefully I'll be doing a video on that when it comes out. Ida Marie says the Underground Railroad kind of started close to her as well. Yeah, we're kind of all on that line up from the south. Jane, I didn't know there was an Underground Railroad stamp being issued, so there's something new. And Ida Marie says the James Henson House is one of my houses I need to visit. Underground Railroad connection. Okay, Amber, we'll talk to you a little bit later. Enjoy getting your groceries, and if we're still on when you get back, you can pop back in. Eric is looking for some history. Has a video for us to watch, I guess. Oh, Year of the Dragons. I think there are going to be a ton of Year of the Dragon stamps that are going to be coming out around the world that are going to be very collectible. Of all the animals that can be representative for the Chinese New Year, the dragons are the most exciting ones, I think, over the Year of the Rabbit or the Year of the Pig or things like that. So I think there's going to be a lot of great ones coming out. U.S. issues each February, so there's going to be a Underground Railroad stamps issued each February. Is that what you mean, Anna Marie? Is there a collection? Stephen has one coming out from Christmas Island soon on the 29th for the Year of the Dragon. Eric the Postcard Guy says, Canadiana, very good YouTube channel on Canadian history, very high budget stuff too. So unlike mine, that are not high budget videos that come out. Oh, the Underground Railroad stamp comes out in early March for the United States, okay. See, we're learning all sorts of things. Well, hello, Karina Lupin. Welcome back. It's been a while since you've been on. Nice to have you. Hopefully things are going well for you. Media's having a meetup on February 29th for the Leap Day in Espoo. She's going to go to. We don't have any meetups. We hardly have any meetups here on the East Coast. The only meetups that we've had so far, Sophia from Montreal has come down and done. That's why we've had one in Fredericton, New Brunswick, one in Moncton, New Brunswick the last 2 years. And she also went to Newfoundland this year. And of course, 2 years ago, she had one in Prince Edward Island and one in Nova Scotia. Those are the only postcard meetups we've had. And it's all been thanks to her. So hopefully she's coming back again and doing some more. I know maybe some of us here in Atlantic Canada should pick up the mantle and do them ourselves, but it's a lot of work. So I really respect that she does those for us. I will look for Canadiana and see what I can find. Thanks, Eric. I know he's looking forward to the March issue of stamps. Oh, Eric is coming eastwardly in a trip. All right. You let me know when you're passing through or what you're going to see. Karina said she always saw my notifications that I was going online too late, unfortunately. Oh, and Karina went to a meetup today. Fantastic. Where was the meetup and how many people showed up? I find the European meetups, a lot of people tend to be there because, well, one, there are so many more post-crossers there, but... Oh, Phoenix Star is on as well. We're having the whole family joining. Phoenix Star, excuse me. Sometimes you want to read them literally the way they are and not how they're meant to be. But I'm glad to have my friends from Germany on too. I love it when the family crashes to meet up. We just need herring salad, or at least that should be the moniker now. It should be herring salad. – 14 people were at the meetup. That's a pretty good number. Even if half of them were your family. That's great. Did they do anything special for the meetup? Was there a theme around it? Did they have giveaways? Did they have trash to treasure boxes, things that you bring and then get to take other stuff? What sort of activities did they have around it? Epic Boy is on. Hello, Epic Boy, where are you from? We've done our weather update 2 around, but if you guys are new or just popping on, feel free to tell us what the weather's like in your areas. had the meetup at the restaurant close to the cinema. Did you get free movie tickets? What did you have to eat while you were there? Was there time to eat, or was it too busy signing and stamping on all the cards? This would be neat if you could throw up a picture in the comment field to show us what the new meetup card looks like. I don't think you can, but it would be an idea. YouTube could do that. I guess the downside would be that you probably would get the odd troll that would start throwing up things that other people wouldn't want to see too, so that makes it difficult, not difficulty. Phoenix Star says, we all have our own stamps now. Order them for the meetup. Feels like we're professional postcrossers. You are a professional postcrosser. Now, I have my stamp. You can't really see it as well here, but it does say that dad guy. I find it's too big when I've gone to the meetup. It takes up so much space over everybody else's things. I would like to find one, if I could get it, that's half this size. That would be my ideal. So you'll see on some of my postcards or something, I will put that stamp on it. But if we pull, let's an example here, because I do have meetup cards. Let's see here. These are meetup cards. Here's an example. You can see everybody else's stamp. Now mine's pretty much the same as that one, but a little bit. But it does take up a lot more room over someone like this. So if I went to a meetup that had 20 people in it, 30 people in it, one of the big ones, I would take up too much of the card for people. So I need to find one a little bit smaller. Epic Boys from the United Arab Emirates. Oh, cool. Welcome, welcome. And Marston has a stamp collection from Canada. They're mostly First Nations. Well, I can send you some more Canadian stamps, and then we can widen the array of stamps that you have. But if it's sentiment from childhood, it's probably a nice collection as well. Well, you're more than welcome to send me one of the meetup cards, and then I will present it on my Friday video. I need some gold crown stickers as king of Canadian post-crossing, as you call me. It's possible. The only when you say king crown stickers, I think of the ones you get for Hallmark cards here. They always throw one in to show that you bought a Hallmark card. There's an interesting note from Marson. He says, most of the books about cowboys and Indians available in Poland in the 70s and 80s were in fact about Canadian tribes struggling with settlers and soldiers. Well, there is a bit about that. I think of cowboys and Indians, I think more of Western United States than I do of Western Canada, but I know we did have similar problems and similar issues. That's you know, settlers wanting land that wasn't theirs and taking it by force, or creating influenzas, or moving people to reservations. Yeah, it was both a Canadian and an American problem. Jane says she loved those Hallmark stickers. Yeah, well, you still get them. If you go to that Hallmark store and you buy a Hallmark cards, they tend to throw some in the package so you can stick them on there. Hey, maybe now I'll start getting Hallmark sticker from people all around in the world. I don't know. Adam Marie still gets them when she goes to Hallmark. Guan Guan, is that it? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Eric says, yeah, too bad, or sad that movies depicted cowboys as heroes. Yeah, in a lot of cases, they were not the heroes, that's for sure. In most cases, they shouldn't have been the heroes. Ida Marie buys so many cards for Hallmark that she is a Gold Crown member. So now whenever I get a card from Ida Marie, I expect there's going to be a gold crown on it. Marston says that's the point. For us back then, it was like one land. So Canada and the U.S. was one giant land. Movies on TV were typically U.S. Westerns, but the books were mostly about Canada. Well, that's a shame that they've melted us both together. There are beautiful people in both countries, but we are definitely two different countries. I'm glad now that you have separated us, that we are Canadians and Americans as separates, but all North Americans. Yeah, Erica certainly touched on an interesting point. Canadians and Americans, we don't like to be called the same thing. I'm sure Ida Marie would not. Well, maybe she would. I don't know, but I won't put words in her mouth. I know Canadians do not like it when you call us Americans. We have our own identity. But I have told the story about traveling Europe and seeing Americans that wear Canadian flags on their packs. So Europeans didn't know that they were Americans or didn't think they were Americans. They're trying to pass themselves off as Canadians because they get treated better when they're abroad. Naimat Lifestyle, hello. Welcome to the channel. Where are you from? Things are good here. All of a sudden went very quiet. Marson then says, then came How I Met Your Mother. Now, it is a TV show that I know. My wife has watched. I've watched a couple episodes, but I don't know it fully and completely. I do know that there is a character on it who is supposed to be Canadian that gets ribbed quite often, or gets teased quite often. From Pakistan, welcome from Pakistan. Hello, Ashley. Where are you from, Ashley? Yes, I know that as well. My aunt was living in New Zealand, and Australians and New Zealand, they're two separate countries, and they want to be distinguished that way, just as we from Canada and the US do as well. Phoenix Star says, the stereotype here is that Canadians are friendlies and Americans are annoying. Well, we're not going to go down that path, but I have heard that before. And MHO4 official is from India. Ashley's from Pakistan, so we've got some people from India and Pakistan on. That's good. Erin's on from Colorado now. That's fantastic. And she's a huge fan of Neil Peart from Rush. That's why she has the moniker she has. I imagine there's a lot of countries that are like that, that don't want to be distinguished or melted together. You know, India and Pakistan, two countries that are on now. Those are two countries that would definitely want to remain separate, and you wouldn't want to confuse one for the other. If you go to Wales and Scotland and Ireland and just say they're all English, they definitely will not like that. They are all separate countries. Ashley, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Yeah, Matt is coming to Canada soon. Okay, well, congratulations. Is it a trip? How long will you be here for? Where are you visiting to? Ida Marie says she likes Nickelback, another Canadian band. Phoenix Star, Germany and Austria as well. Yep, there's another two countries that are neighbors but are definitely separate countries. Eric is trying to start something with saying Quebec and Canada are clearly separate. Yes, we won't get into the separation of provinces from the country. We're all one big family. Canada has the best comedians. I think we're usually pretty funny. We, as well as being very friendly, we do make fun of ourselves quite a bit. So a lot of comedians come out of Canada. And so if you're watching American movies or televisions, sometimes you don't know the Jim Carreys or the Mike Myers of the world, the John Candys, all Canadians. Stephen, definitely do not tell a Scot that they're English. Yes. Eric as well, yeah. A lot of movies are filmed here in Canada but are depicted as the United States because it's cheaper to film in Canada than it is to film there. So TV shows that are super popular now, like The Last of Us, that are talking about, kind of the zombies and escaping from Boston area and traveling out to the western part, all filmed in Canada. None of it was filmed in the United States. Nimette's coming to Canada to visit our friends. Well, I hope you have a fantastic trip and get to spend lots of lovely time with your friends. Jane says he thinks Canadians are so friendly. Well, I'm glad that you're meeting some friendly ones. There are some jerks out there too. Every country has them. Adam really likes Michael Bublé. Yes, another Canadian from British Columbia. Got to see him a couple of years ago when he was here. Sixt, is that your name? You look very friendly. Well, thank you. I look very hairy right now because it's winter time. You have a queen on your money, you're English. Well, we're all part of the British Empire, or the Commonwealth, I guess, so the queen is still on our money for now, but we'll be changing over to King Charles III. Where am I from? I am from Eastern Canada in the province of New Brunswick. Stephen says, it seems that Canadians have a sense of humor that's closer to the British, Australian, rather than the US humor. I think that is true. I think we're influenced a lot by British humor and our culture, of course. It would depend on what province you're in. Some are more US centered than others, but on a whole, I would say most of our culture and background is linked more to Great Britain. Ida Marie says, we're all one big family. We are. We're all a world family, that's for sure. Is it true that dogs are a mailman's worst enemy? It depends if the mailman or mailwoman likes dogs, I guess. I've got lots of friendly dogs on my route. I also have some dogs that are very protective of their family and their property, so that's their job. Ida Marie can't forget Ryan Gosling. No, Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds, both Canadians as well. I'm English good. Yeah, my father's from Great Britain, so I'm pretty English. But I do speak French as well, being Canadian. How many hedgehog postcards do you think I've received over the years? Aaron, that's a very good question. I would have to say probably in around 100. If I had to guess, I would say probably about 100 of the, I don't know, let's say I've received 2,000 postcards over the last couple of years. Probably 100 of them are hedgehogs. Shadow says, what is your favorite sport? I think my favorite sport right now is baseball. So I've been a Yankees fan for a long time. I watch to see how it's going in the off season. I am a big Montreal Canadiens fan when it comes to hockey. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to American football. I like the New York Knicks when it comes to basketball. And my son is big into basketball. We watch a lot of basketball. So basketball and baseball probably are the top two sports that I end up watching. Eric says, is it true that New Brunswick is bilingual? I heard it's the only province that has both English and French by law. Yes, we are the only bilingual province in the whole country. If you go into Quebec, the signs are in French foremost, and they have a law that it has to be French first. In New Brunswick, as soon as you travel into New Brunswick, all of our signs are in both languages. So you can get by in English or French very easily. So Ed says, can you drive to my house? I don't know where your house is. Sorry. Night Nama, have a great trip when you come here. Mary Lou de Salva, welcome to the channel. There's your shout out. I am not in Australia. I'm in Canada. Alexi Nix, hello, hello. Nix. Mary Lou, where are you from? Alexia, where are you from? I like when people join the channel that they interact by letting me know at least where they're coming from, so I know what countries are represented. Marcin, it's good to have you on. Those of you who don't know Marcin, he's the one who created my intro that shows the me with the hedgehog and stuff, all in animation. So thank you. Can you say my name? I can try. Suad Aljawarin. Lexia Nix is from Australia. Fantastic. KTM fan 353 is joined. Not sure where you're from. Let me know. Shadows from India. Stephen says, the statement about having the Queen on your money makes you English is a bit dangerous. Many people around the world would argue with that. I have dual citizenship, so I'm both Brit and Austrian. Yeah, it doesn't make us English having the monarchy on our, but it does mean we have ties with the Great Britain, that's for sure. Eric says, I remember in a video you said you know people in Estonia. My girlfriend is Estonian, so I thought that was cool. Yes, I was very fortunate enough to go to my first meetup here in Moncton, and we had Andre and Merritt, who are from Estonia, and Andre is like the #1 post-crosser in Estonia. He's sent so much, and he travels the world, and I got to know him, and he continues to this day to send me cards from his travels, so very fortunate with that. Stephen says his quote is from Dr. House. I'm not sure what Dr. House is. I know a TV show that was called House. Is that what you're talking about? So it says he wants to be friends. I'm in Australia. Yeah, you can be a part of the community. Join, chit chat. I'm welcome to all. Can you see my wife or kids, please? They're not coming on camera right now, unfortunately. Kids are not home. But if you watch my videos, you'll see them in there, that's for sure. Shadow says he likes football, and I assume being in India, you are referring to soccer, not what we consider American football here. Yeah, in India, I believe football, as the rest of the world calls it, and cricket would be your top 2 sports that would come out of that country. Not a lot of soccer is played here. I mean, yeah, it's played in the summer, but it's not super huge yet. Does my family support my YouTube and my humor? Yeah, yeah. No, they're very supportive. My wife's the one who's made my That Dad Guy sign. She also made my That Dad Guy t-shirt. She's not crazy about being on camera, so you won't see her on camera very often, though. Phoenix Star says, how many post-crossing meetups have I been to so far? I've been to 3. I did one in Fredericton, one in Moncton, both here in New Brunswick, and I went over to Prince Edward Island and did one as well. So that's all I've been able to do so far. There was one in Nova Scotia that I could have gotten to, but it would have mean doing 3 meetups in 3 days. I couldn't do that. Stevens doesn't have a TV that picks up many stations. Oh, Swad, no, I'm not FaceTiming with my family, sorry. Have I traveled to other countries? I have traveled to other countries, not with YouTube, of course, but yeah, I've been blessed to do a little bit of traveling, hoping to do more as time goes on. And Jane used to work for TV Guide. That's cool. All right, that's something you should have sent on a postcard to me. That's a interesting fact. What did you do for TV Guide magazine? I think if I showed up with a robe and a crown, people would think I was crazy, Eric. So that you were the only one that calls me a post-crossing king. So I don't think I deserve that mantle just yet, but I am happy to get the mail from you that says otherwise. Stephen says his TV only plays DVDs, so you get to watch whatever you like then. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, didn't work directly for TV Guide, just worked for the printer that produced it in the southeast. Probably still pretty good summer job, I guess. Everybody used to have a TV Guide. Now nobody has TV Guides anymore, with the guide being right on the television. But I remember all those monthly. We didn't get one at our house, but I knew people that had them and had them every month. Thank you, Stephen. As I stated, I don't think I deserve that moniker. There's a lot of people that have been post-crossing a lot longer than I have. I may promote it this way, but I'm not the only one that does too. But thank you. Oh, Eric says his girlfriend's mother still gets the TV Guide. I didn't know they were still in print. So there you go. Well, there's an interesting fact about Stephen that I think we may all be learning here, that his last name means stallion in Polish. All right, Charmaine, if you happen to be watching this, Charmaine often says she's on, but she can't comment. But she's been studying Polish, so did you know that meant stallion? We still have a landline here in our house too. So Eric says that his girlfriend's mother still has one. I'm not sure why we still have one. I guess because we've had the number for so long. There are some people that keep it, but most of the calls we do are on our cell phones. That have nothing to do with our landlines. I don't think we pay really much of any extra for having it or not having it, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. Marston said he was thinking about doing post-crossing, but his handwriting is terrible. So is mine, and I'm lazy and a cheapskate. Kind of. Not kind of that you are, but kind of that I am, that I can relate. But it is a fantastic hobby. I remember the Seinfeld episode about TV Guide too, Ida Marie. It was a good one. So many of his were good just because they were so relatable. Ida Marie has a landline. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that still have landlines. I know my brother does not have a landline. And so if you need to reach him, you use a cell phone, which is great because that's what he always has on him. It makes sense. I get why having a landline is kind of a thing of the past now. But if it doesn't cost me any extra to have it, it's all right. The downside of landlines is when your power goes out, you don't have a way to phone. So at least there's that connection. It doesn't surprise me that Stephen did know that that was what the Polish translation for his last name was. He is great with languages. Jane still has a landline as well. It's probably an interesting poll to do amongst everybody who's on here, who has one and who doesn't have one. And whether or not it is more of a North American thing to still have one versus a European or Asian thing. Marston's last name means son of a goat herder. Well, my first name means to take without permission. Ida Marie's talking about the Seinfeld episode where Costanza's father goes crazy because he lost his TV guide and Lane got involved. Yeah. Phoenix Star makes a very good point that people that you can still print out your messages and your addresses, and that has nothing to do with your handwriting. So lots of people do it that way. And quality over quantity is better anyways. Eric's last name means a group of trees. And Stephen's surname is French from his distant Flemish ancestry. Yeah, I get the odd printed postcard message too. I don't mind either way. The printed ones are actually better just because then I can read it entirely and understand everything. Sometimes it's hard to read people's messages, especially if they have a cursive writing that gets overprinted with a postal cancellation or something like that. Really hard to see what they're trying to say. Roger's tuned in from Greece. And happy birthday, 67 years old. It is 13 degrees in the evening for him. I hope you had a great birthday. Dandy's joined. Hello, where are you from, Dandy? And you're going to get tons of happy birthday messages, I'm sure, now from everybody. So that's really good. You're not alone. You're here with all of us. So welcome, welcome. Hopefully maybe you even got to do some stamp sorting and organization today on your birthday. See? Everybody's wishing you a happy birthday. You're not alone. I'm glad you joined the live chat. Eric says, what are your thoughts on Canada Post being privatized versus when it's fully public? It's always a big talking point. This is the year of contract negotiations. So every time there's contract negotiations, Canada Post says they're losing so much money and they have to get rid of this and that. You don't hear about it in the other years, but you do around contract year. I don't know. If it gets sold off and it becomes privatized, then the world will, or the country will have to worry about rising prices. So cost of stamps and everything is going to go up. Maybe you don't have the same quality of service to all the remote locations that we currently have now because it's a public institution. So there are pros and cons to going private for sure. Canada Post services the whole country no matter how small your community. So a lot of times if you're shipping with FedEx or UPS or whoever, if it's going to a remote location, it's Canada Post that's delivering it. They come through us because we go everywhere. Well, Roger, I'm glad you joined. So I'm glad that you're doing something fun today, hopefully. Marston's being original by saying Mazel Tov. However you say it, congratulations are in order on a milestone birthday. Eric says it's scary because it should be public. It's a mixture. There's a lot of things the government does that the government doesn't need to have their hands in, but things like healthcare and your mail system, it's good that they are involved so everybody can get treated equally. Yeah, the US just put their postage up. Not too bad though, 2 cents. Yeah, your postage rates are still very, very cheap in comparison to most countries. So it's not too bad. And you're getting mail delivery 6 days a week, which is good too. We are considering going from 5 days a week down to 4. So that would make a change. Stephen agrees that the Postal Service should be public. Star X Light says, "Are you straight?" I am straight. Not that there's anything wrong with any of the others, but I am married and have kids. Mara says, "I wouldn't worry too much about postage stamp. Their days are numbered anyway, so it's very possible." Yeah, everything is going either into a QR code, or if you're in the Netherlands, you can order stamps online and you just get a code and you can just write that code on your envelope, no stamp required. There are ways of getting around having postage stamps, unfortunately. Sad cutting down. I'm not sure what that means. Item Marie, explain. Summer, I'm not sure what your face is for, but Stephen says the Australian Post is looking at putting their stamps up 30 cents, but not till the end of February. That's a pretty big increase. Everything, no matter where you go, whatever your products that you're buying, they're all getting more and more expensive. And so if you're talking about fuel costs and flying or driving your mail places, it's going to increase how much it's going to cost you to buy the stamps to do all the rest. Yeah, 4-day delivery to Canada Post. Now, it hasn't happened yet. It's still something that's in discussion. But with the way mail volumes have gone down and parcel service has gone up, they thought that if they could cut out an extra day of delivery, then, you know, I've got days where it doesn't take me very long to deliver to my 1,000 customers. So if they were to get rid of, say, Friday, then it would make mail volumes on Thursday even greater, or maybe cut out Wednesday so you only had deliveries on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday. That it would make those other days have more to do. Stamps should be tied to inflation only. German Post has increased prices, but so far they haven't changed the rate of postcards, just letters. It's interesting that there are some places, including the United States, that have a postcard rate. Here in Canada, we don't. So if you send a postcard or you send a letter domestically, it's going to be the same price. Jane says they're talking about building another distribution service center in her area for mail. We need it. It takes forever for my mail to be delivered. I wish she wished she lived closer to Atlanta. Is that the closest distribution center you have for mail? There seems to be a clog, though, in the mail system for sure. Charmaine in Maine, who's a state right next to our province here, her mail is taking forever to get here. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Australian Post says it's even at $1.50. It won't really cover the cost of delivering the mail due to the fact that there's so much correspondence in digital these days. Yeah, USA Forever stamps. You can use if you bought them 5 years ago, they're still the same value as today. It's the same with Canada Post. We have these are our Forever stamps. I mean, there are a lot of them, but any ones that have these little P's on them, these are the small stamps. Um, whether you buy these 10 years ago or now, you can still mail them and not have to pay any extra. Oh, it's a shame. The Phoenix Star says the German post crossing stamp has been sold out, so they're not available anymore. So they're going to become rare now. I'm glad that I've got a bunch. Had received bunches of them on postcards. I don't think I've ever gotten one loose though that can go into my collection, and I'm not tearing off my postcard corners. Am I discussing work? Well, I have discussed some work there. I work for Canada Post, so sometimes questions get asked, and I can let you know what it entails with Canada Post. A question for Stephen, I'm sure he can answer. Explain why the Canadian address is so long. I don't think our Canadian address is any longer than an American address. We have a street and number. We have a city and province. We have a postal code, which is equivalent to your zip code, and then we have the country. That's the same as what you would have in the United States. Eric says he finds UK. I agree that UK addresses are much longer because they seem to include the counties, and there's a real breakdown entirely. But I get why. If you have a larger density of population in an area, you want to try to narrow it down as much as you possibly can. So for a city like mine that has 130,000 people, you really don't need to break it down that much. But if I was in a city of 6 million, it would make more sense to try to break it down as close as you could. The US is 3 lines. So you have, unless you're talking about being in a PO box, that's something different. But if you have a street and number, you have that. You have a city and state, you have that, and you have a zip code. And if you want to put your country, that's the 4th line. So if you're mailing, so those are the same 3 lines that we have in Canada as well. And we have a 4th line if you need to post international and put your country. It's funny, Eric, you say that UK address is like walk 5 paces north to the rock, then turn right at the door. I've had mail come through in some of the rural areas that I've delivered to that said, 3rd house left after the red barn, and you're supposed to know where that is. Stephen doesn't have an answer for Roger and his question. Sorry. Phoenix Star says, for countries that use a postal code that's unique for each address, like I know in Ireland does with the IR code, why even put the street state as well? I never. Yeah, there is some duplication in that. If you have your postal code, that will tell you exactly what province it is, what city it's in, and they'll even break it down into your neighborhood. So you really don't need to put the rest. If you put your if you put the person's name, their house and number, or their street and house number on it, and the postal code, it would find the spot. But the more information you can give, the better, because sometimes those postal codes get smeared, especially if they've been in the rain. So the more information you can put on a card, the better chance that it will arrive at its destinations. Mr. Zip, yeah, I remember being told about Mr. Zip and the introduction of the zip code. So I did talk about that at one point in time too. And what we had as our, when postal codes came out here, all the really odd things about how they tried to promote how important it was to put on a postal code. Any secret tips to get mail to be sent faster? Not a lot of secret tips, no. If you can put your mail in at a postal counter versus putting in a mailbox, sometimes that will be quicker because you'll know what's going to go out that day versus you may have missed the pickup at your mailbox. So that's possible. Phoenix said it's really redundancy in case of damage. Yeah, pretty much. That if you've got a postal code on your letter, you really don't need to have your city or province or city and state. Those should be able to find it from there. Lilac, I don't know what your question is. Not sure what your sister wants to see. Yeah, he was introduced. Mr. Zip was introduced in the 60s in the United States. Late 60s, early 70s. Jane says her grandmother used to get the mail when it just said Granny Highway 1, and that was in the 60s. Mail used to go by name versus by address too, so you might have a Mr. Smith, and you kind of would know the community that it would belong to. So I don't know how postal carriers did it back then. It's not my strong suit remembering names that way. But a smaller community, you wouldn't have to have as much detail, but because there might only be one Mr. Smith in that small community. So you would have things that would be 3 doors left of the Green Church or the Catholic Church or the whatever. Eric says he always puts a return address so to know the address if it's wrong or something. It's good. I haven't done a lot of that, putting my return address on postal cards. I do it on envelopes, but I don't do it on postcards. But it is a way to get your postcard back if the postal system can't read where it's supposed to go to. My brother, when he sends things, he sends it to and from with the exact same address. So if they can't read where it's supposed to go to, if they look to return it, they're still going to send it to where it's supposed to go. So it's a trick, but sometimes that works too. Yeah, Ida Marie, back in the day, you didn't need as much information to mail letters. Whether that means your postal carriers at the time were just much better at doing their jobs, maybe, or if just they were smaller communities. And Marson, that's exactly why we put street names, cities, and states on it, because if you do make a mistake, there is a backup system there that if the postal code is in error, it's still going to go to the right city. If it's undeliverable, the dead letter office gets it. That's true. There's tons and tons of parcels and packages that are sitting in a warehouse somewhere just because they never could get to their destination because the address couldn't be read. Yes, Eric. If you put a return address and it's where you want it to go and you haven't put enough postage, it will get sent to the person, but sometimes it'll get sent postage due, so the person has to pay for it on the other end before they get to collect it. All right, Phoenix Star, thanks for joining. Thanks for the whole family coming in. Let me know about the meetup. I look forward to hearing from you guys again soon. Well, we have been chit-chatting for an hour and 10 minutes now. I think things have gone well. There's a few more people that need to put some thumbs up on there if they really enjoyed it. But I'm glad that people have come on. I think I should wrap it up though and let everybody carry on with their days or evenings. In Steven's case, he probably wants to go to sleep. But I'm glad that people have joined on from around the world today. And we had a real good discussion on a bunch of different things. I like the fact that you guys talk amongst yourselves as well as put questions forth that I have can respond to. So thank you once again for making this part 103 of That Dad Guy Answers success. And for all of you that are watching after the fact, don't forget you can send in your answering cards, the things that I might be interested to know about you that I can share with everybody else. I'd really appreciate it for the first Saturday in February, which is coming up very soon. So there we go. Everybody, have a magical week.